Songs and Sit-Downs, featuring Owen Dara. And now...
Good evening and welcome to Songs and Sit-Downs. Thank you, JJ Shock, as always, for that fine introduction and for the original theme music. And thank you, our audience, so much for joining us on this, our 13th show in the series. As always, we're very happy to have you with us. We hope you're well and making the most of everything under the current circumstances. Some of you may have witnessed Comet Neowise this week, which, as I'm sure you've heard, only comes around every 6,800 years. So anyone who didn't see it this time around, well, you probably won't see it next time round, with the exception of possibly Keith Richards, who most likely also saw it last time round back in 4780 BC. Next time we'll get a chance to see it will be 6,800 years from now. So if you're disappointed you missed it next time round, this time round, well, maybe next time, if you get plenty of regular exercise, if you eat healthy, you never know. You might live to see it. Along with the Rolling Stones reunion tour of 8,230. Yep, it could happen. Speaking of reunions, let's say a quick hello to our fearless leaders at Divine Rebel Music out there in Van Nuys, Dolly and JJ, who, as I always say, work very hard to bring us some of the finest entertainment on the internet. This is Dolly and JJ, and something's going on with my camera lens, I am hearing, so I'm going to give that a little bit of a clean. See what's going on. See if that helps.
Let's see.
Oh my God, that made such a difference. I was freaking, I was like, I'm out of focus. I thought I'd be out of focus for the rest of my life. Man, we should start again. Should we just do it again?
So pretty, Owen. Yeah. Everybody, let's start over.
Really?
No.
Sure. Let's go.
You look so pretty, Owen.
Well, you look so pretty yourself.
Let me put my glasses on so I can see you.
Oh man, that's so funny. So that was weird. So there was a fog because there was something on my camera lens?
Maybe.
Wow. No, because I just cleaned it and it's all clear again.
It looks great now.
Wow.
How are you?
You know, I'm good. I'm not as out of focus as I looked just a moment ago. I'm a little out of focus.
I didn't notice it until now because the sun was behind you. You had that holy light behind you.
That's what it was. And now that I shut the blinds, you can see the whole... Well, you know, that's just how it goes, my friend. You know, live shows, that's how it goes.
That's right.
So,
and we have so many people on already. I'm so happy. Hi, everybody.
Good. Delighted. Hi, everybody. So, how are you guys doing?
We're doing great.
Yeah.
Just keeping busy. You know, we've got some shows coming up, so I know you'll get to that at that point. We'll leave it to that. But,
Absolutely.
Yeah. Just
And
things
do we
are
have
good.
any announcements?
Yes. Well, as usual, but you know, people, we are still trying to get to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, and we have a little ways to go, but I know we can do it. So, folks, if you have not subscribed to either Divine Rebel Music's YouTube channel or Owen Dara's YouTube channel, if you would please do that. I'm going to post the link in the comments. So if you haven't done it, please help us out there, because once we get to 1,000 subscribers, we will be able to monetize on our shows, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Owen, what would that mean?
Well, that would mean that we wouldn't be asking for tips like we always do because we'd be getting paid by YouTube. And how exciting would that be?
That's right. We're not there yet, but we're, you know, several hundred away. And we just,
Yes.
you know, pick at it each time, and we'll get closer and closer.
So our viewers, by helping us, are in fact helping themselves. So if you wouldn't mind going to youtube.com/Divine Rebel Music and youtube.com/Owen Dara, clicking the subscribe button, we would
That's
greatly
right.
appreciate it. And thank you guys for all the hard work you do.
And thank you, Owen.
Thank you. And in the meantime, we should say that we created this show, Songs and Sit-Downs, in part as a means to fill the deficit created by the lack of live work available for artists as a result of COVID-19, which you may have heard of. It's out there. And as most of you know, we have a very hard-working team. You're kind of looking at some of them right now. We also happen to be artists ourselves.
That's right.
adversely affected by the ongoing closure of music venues because we are all musicians, as are many of our viewers. So you guys understand, and we understand if you're also feeling the pinch. And if you can't tip, that's absolutely fine. We're very happy to have you here. And if you can, we absolutely support that as well. And we do share the tips with our musical artists. So later in the show, we're going to be having wonderful music artists, as we always do, the Scooches. And I'll tell you more about the other guests that we have coming up too. So
It's gonna be such a good show, everybody.
it's going to be a great show. It started out of focus, but it's going to end like totally, hopefully, in focus.
So, just really quick before you kick us off screen, I just want to say I'm looking through the comments. You guys are so active on it. I love it. So, hi everybody: Barb, Kathy, Nalini, Jessica, Gwendolyn, Matt, and there's a few others that I missed, I'm sure. But you guys, thanks for popping in. Thanks for saying hello.
Yes, and
right.
thank you for being with us. We appreciate that so much. Okay, guys, we'll chat
All
again
right,
soon.
see ya.
Thank you. And as we always do, this is a music-based program, and we always plug the upcoming gigs that we have going around, and we do this pretty much every week. Here's a gig guide to the shows that are happening around Los Angeles. And there's nothing on there. And now this is our 13th show, and I believe we've done that joke every single week. It might have been funny the first time or the second time, but by the fifth or sixth time, it stopped being funny. So it's actually probably not been funny the last 8 times, and I've used pretty much the same piece of paper. So we kind of have fun doing that, and we do that because when the live shows come back, it's going to be exciting not to do it. We also have Facebook live shows that'll be coming up also, and we'll talk about those a little bit later in the show. And another joke that we've constantly been doing too, that hasn't really been funny, is a word from our sponsors, and then we have no sponsors. And it's a moment that we kind of laugh internally, and if you're a regular viewer, you probably go, that joke again. But as it turns out, it's a little different this week because we kind of have a sponsor. I know, it's amazing. A great publication based in Southern California called Irish Arts and Entertainment, based here, as I said, right here in SoCal, and serving the Irish community and those interested in Irish-related events in SoCal. And there's the cover of their July issue. Well, they have agreed to help us out by promoting our show and sharing on its network about what we're doing on Songs and Sit-Downs. And not only that, they're also offering a reduced subscription to our viewers and our friends, which includes membership to the Mighty Irish Network here in Southern California. Now, I don't know if it's quite the Irish Mafia. Maybe you've heard of them. It might be. I've never been a member myself, but I am a member of the Mighty Irish Network because I did sign up just recently for their publication and to be part of that network. And if you sign up, there's so many things that you can do. You can read it there on your screen. There are many benefits, including 2-for-1 deals in many pubs and restaurants around the Southern California area. Each subscriber will automatically be entered into a weekly draw, so you might actually win something. And there are many other perks of being a member and a subscriber. It's all just for $25 a year. And as I said, I became a member just a few weeks myself, and I'm looking forward to all the benefits that are about to be bestowed on me. And we here at Songs and Sit-Downs and Divine Rebel Music are very grateful, and we want to thank Irish Arts and Entertainment and their publisher, Jim McDonough, for taking an interest in our show. It's very, very much appreciated. And of course, as I always say, we're so grateful to have you, the viewers, with us too. If you'd like to sign up for Irish Arts and Entertainment and get all those benefits for a reduced fee of just $25 for an entire year, you can email them directly. It's I think it's coming up on your screen soon. It's the Mighty Irish Network at gmail.com. The Mighty Irish Network, and there it is on your screens. It'll be in the comments also. Or you can give them a call at 951-216-1493. I think you'll talk with that number. You might talk directly to the man himself, Jim McDonough. Tell him I said hi if you do call. He'll be happy to hear from you. And they would just send you an invoice for $25, and you'll automatically be in the loop for the entire year. But of course, you're also in the loop tonight here at Songs and Sit-Downs with us. And you're going to be very glad you tuned in tonight because we have some fantastic guests joining us in the show. In just a little while, we'll be going all the way to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania to meet Weird Paul Petrosky, a very interesting and extremely prolific songwriter and video blogger, or vlogger as we're calling it these days. So interesting, in fact, is he, that there are 2 feature-length documentaries dedicated to his life and work. Weird Paul also holds the veritable title of the original vlogger and as we will witness firsthand when we meet him in just a little while, he is a truly original character, always true to himself, tirelessly dedicated to his work and his art. That's all happening, as I said, in just a little while, and after that, we'll be going all the way to New York City to meet with our featured musical artist, the Scooches. They're a couple, Bettina Hershey and Nick Russa. They're a couple, they're married, but they're also a couple in music and in life. Two incredibly talented musicians whose collective skills creatively make up the very compelling duo whose original songs and performances have captivated audience all around the United States and beyond. And they are playing as a duo tonight. As I said, they're the center of the band, but they also play with several other musicians, I think up to 8 at a time, which is kind of incredible. And we'll show you a little bit of that too as we're talking to them through some video. Obviously, they don't have the whole band with them tonight. First of all, it's late at night over there in New York City. They're at home in their basement. And also, we have this social distancing going on, as you might have heard. And the Scooches, I got to tell you, their work has received stellar reviews, and Elmore magazine actually says of the band, they have a heart as big as the sky, full of high energy and higher spirits. And they're going to be bringing that energy to us later on in the show as they join us from their home in New York City, as I said, and they'll be performing their songs live here for us on Songs and Sit Downs. So please stay with us for that. But first, we're going to go to one of our favorite weekly segments. This is written and presented by Jessica Lancaster, who, as I always say, never lets us down with her good news stories, her positivity, and just her good nature. I'm excited, as I'm sure you are, to hear what she has in store for us tonight. This is On the Upside with Jessica Lancaster.
Hello and happy Monday, everyone. I hope you had a great weekend. I know I did. There's a lot of good news to get to, so I'm going to start. There's a hospital in Brooklyn that received a special delivery this week. A truckload of 1,800 paintings, one for every employee, from the doctors and nurses and administrators to the janitors and security guards and cafeteria workers. The entire staff received one. The paintings were created and donated by artist Michael Getz, whose works have been shown at the National Portrait Gallery in London, the Park Avenue Armory in New York, and even in the demilitarization zone between North and South Korea. Wow, what an amazing thank you to all those frontline workers. An Afghanistan all-girl high school team of geniuses proved that their country is so much more than a war zone. The robotics team invented an inexpensive new ventilator system that will help thousands of COVID-19 patients in their country. In the city of Herat, the Afghan robotics team of 7 young girls finished a design of an open-sourced mobile ventilator that cost as little as $700. Compare that with the $20,000 that it usually costs. The lightweight machine can be powered by batteries and can run for up to 10 hours. This is going to save lives. Can we say the future is female? In the Indian state of Uttar Pradesh, 2 million residents, that is right, 2 million residents are planting truckloads of trees while social distancing. The most populous Indian state is conducting a mass tree planting campaign along the banks of the river Ganges as part of a pledge to shade a third of the nation by the year 2030. The nation's target acreage is 235 million acres. That would represent the area the size of Texas and New Mexico combined. That is a whole lot of trees. So, way to go, India. Also in India, this little golden dude is an Indian flapshell turtle, and he was found in the village of Sunjapur. I probably said that wrong. Scientists say that the creature's color is due to albinism and that it's only the second albino turtle found in this area ever. So after getting plenty of admiration from locals, he was set free in the wild to live his fabulous albino life. And lastly, I know how hard is it out there for all you musicians. You need your band members. You need to jam. Well, At Acoustic Trench found a solution. All you need to do is win the dog lottery and get yourself a maple. Take a listen. All right, guys, that's all for me. If you have any good news that you want to share, please pass it along to us and we will spread the love. Thanks so much. Have a great week, you guys. Bye.
Thank you so much, Jessica. Always spreading the love yourself, and it's just so great to hear from you every week and to hear those great stories that you bring us and you uplift us on the upside with Jessica Lancaster. We look forward to hearing more good news and more uplifting stories from her again next week on Songs and Sit Downs. Our first guest of the evening, we're about to get to now, and it's a very exciting one, let me add. It's Weird Paul Petrosky. He's been writing and recording songs and filming videos in the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area. Try saying that, it's like a tongue twister. Since 1984, at the tender age of 13 or 14, I believe. He has also been doing live shows since 1988. He has written or co-written over 800 songs and has appeared on over 60 different albums. Paul started his career by filming on VHS tape, and believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, still to this day, he continues to film his videos on VHS tape. He also does his live streams using old analog equipment, and his diligence, creativity, and perseverance has not only earned him the title of the original vlogger, but also has earned him tens of thousands of followers on various digital platforms. There are 2 feature-length documentaries that depict the story, work, and passions of Weird Paul. The first, released in 2006, is titled Weird Paul, a low-fidelity documentary. And the most recent, which is currently available to watch for free on Amazon Prime, I just saw it for the second time the other night, is called Will Work for Views: The Lo-Fi Life of Weird Paul. On top of all that, Paul has won the prestigious award for Best Hair in Pittsburgh 3 years in a row by readers from the Pittsburgh City paper. We're absolutely delighted to have him with us this evening. But before we meet him, we'd like to show you a clip of one of his many creative and entertaining videos. This is Peanut Butter Recall by Weird Paul Petrosky. Now there is a song that is original, catchy, and will haunt you. And I can tell you this because I've heard it a number of times. It will haunt your dreams in a very good way. As I said, we're so excited to have this gentleman on the show. Please welcome Weird Paul Petrosky.
Hello.
Hi, Paul. How are you?
Great. Thanks for having me tonight.
Oh, look, we're so happy to have you. You know, ever since I came across you, probably 2 years ago now, I've been following you, and I've been like, when we started this show, I said to Dolly, we got to have Weird Paul on. She looked at like 10 seconds of one video and said, yep, he's on the show. Get in touch. We'll get him on the show. So thank you for being with us. Now, that video, Peanut Butter Recall, you actually released that song on vinyl as a single. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Wow. And how do we get them? Because it's so hard to get physical copies of things now that you're not out there doing shows. I guess you're locked down just like we are.
You can find that on my website. It's www.weirdpaul.com.
Well, it's perfect that you have it on vinyl. I mean, we would expect no less. Now, what's incredible is you're still doing things on VHS. I mean, that's just so admirable. So you first of all, let's get to the important stuff. The Hair Award. Now, how did that come about? You won 3 years running. Oh, and they actually send you. Oh, I love it. So they actually send you a best hair plaque.
Yes.
And you have 3 of those?
I have 3 of those. That's correct.
Oh my God. And here's the question. Did your hair change at any time between any of the awards?
No, no. I mean, it might have got a little longer or shorter,
Right.
but other than that, the style remained exactly the same.
So you were just like, why mess with a winning thing? I'm just going
Of
to enter
course.
this, and nobody else had a shot.
No one, absolutely no one.
Now,
I always tell people in Pittsburgh that I meet in Pittsburgh, I just say, "You live here? Oh well, I'm sorry, you don't have the best hair here. I do. I'm sorry, but that's just the case."
oh, I love it. Now, you won it 3 years running. Now, was there a year after that that you didn't win? Are you still the king?
I won last year, and now
Yeah.
this year they started up the nominations for awards again. And best hair is not one of the categories. They've not made that a category this year. So
Well, I suppose they figured like they could never get a new champion. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Unless you ever get a haircut, no one else is in the running.
you're probably right, Owen.
Yeah, I love it. And Paul, now here's the other thing, just talking more about your hair, because I know your hair really is one of your signature factors. I know there's a lot of comments on your hair. It's a cut that you've had for a long time. But this is what's fascinating. You're actually in the Urban Dictionary, you're
That's right.
as like a weird Paul haircut, is that right?
Yeah, it's in there. Yeah, hard to believe.
Wow. Oh,
There it
and here's the
is.
proof.
Yeah.
So you've come into the Urban Dictionary, and so this is your description. So strange guy from YouTube, guy with a childlike bowl cut. He's got a weird Paul cut. This is
Yeah.
quite an accolade that you've received.
Yeah, I guess that's how I could look at it.
It's amazing to enter the Urban Dictionary in any form, but I mean that is just wonderful. And so you started getting this cut as a kid. Now I read something that your mother once cut your hair. I think I saw it in the documentary. Did she first give you that cut?
Pretty much. My hair always kind of looked like this when I was young,
Hmm.
and when I was when I was a teenager, when I was about 17 years old, I told my mom I wanted it specifically to look like this. It was because
Yeah,
one of my heroes was Johnny Ramone of the
yeah.
punk band the Ramones, and this is what
Hmm.
his hair looked like. So I had her
Hmm.
cut it like this. And
Hmm.
it's really just stayed like this. And she's cut my hair up until early this year, and then we all had to quarantine. And so my girlfriend Niffer actually cut my hair the last couple times, and she did a very good job. It looks just as good as ever.
Yeah, she's well, no losing awards because of her, I don't think. It looks very
No,
good. Now,
sir.
just so we don't spend the whole time talking about your hair, because we
Oh,
could.
no
the
doubt.
the shot that just came up there, if I'm right, in my memory, it looks like a screenshot from your McDonald's breakfast review. Is
Yeah,
that the
that's what it
video?
looked. That's what it looked like. Yeah. Yep, that's what that is.
Wow. And now, was that the video that started it all?
That was made roughly 1 week, was it? No, no, that was actually made the day after we got the video camera. It was
Wow.
actually so yeah. That was I filmed a bunch of stuff the day we got it, but that was the first thing that I
Hmm.
made that really speaks to people now. Is that McDonald's breakfast review that I made when I was 13?
You were 13. Okay, wow. So you were just into your teens. And the story, as I believe it is, your dad brought home a video because you were doing stuff on tape. You actually started just recording audio tape, and then your dad brought home a video camera, but he didn't bring it home for you. Like, did he know what he was in for when it came into the house?
I don't think so. I don't think he was prepared for that at all. I knew that when he was talking about getting it, I was already I was already writing scripts. I was getting all ready for it, but I don't think he
Wow.
was. I don't think he was ready for all the days I was going to be using it every day. So
Right, and not only did he fall into the folly of his prized possession being taken over by his son, but you took over your parents and cast them as actors in almost everything you did, right?
that's right. That's right.
Wow. And they were supportive in that?
Yeah, I constantly hear from people who watch my videos. They said my parents would never have done that,
Yeah.
and so I don't realize how lucky I was.
Yeah.
That they did that for me.
And that's one thing that really comes across in the documentary is how supportive your parents were from the beginning and how supportive they are of you now, which is really a gift, especially
Yeah.
since you're not on the, well, none of us artists are, but I mean, particularly you have not stayed on the track that, it's not the kind of profession that people would encourage when you're a kid.
Nah.
It's like, I don't want to be a doctor. I'm just going to make videos out of VHS. And so the documentary, the one that's available on Amazon Prime now, was very entertaining, by the way. As I said, I saw it for the second time just this past weekend. It was directed by, the credit says Eric and Joe. which is great for me as a host because I don't have to pronounce any weird second names. Eric and Joe,
Yes.
that works for me. How did you come across those guys, or how did they find you?
I think that Eric was looking for ideas to make documentaries. They were getting ready to start up a documentary film company, and Eric stumbled upon my peanut butter recall video online, and they got a hold of me and said, this looks like a story, and should we start this? Should we start making this movie about you? And I said, well, if you don't, someone else is going to.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
They said, we'll do it. We'll do it.
Yeah, we got to do it now. Well, I think there's room for another one. Like that's the second feature-length documentary, but I think there'll be one more. So, at the rate you're going, especially because you're building. I mean, that was released in 2018. Oh, and here's the film that we're talking about, Will Work for Views. I mean, in that film you state, and this 2018, you had 20,000 YouTube subscribers at that point, but now you're up and around 34,000, I think.
I'm about 20 away right now from 34,000. Yeah.
Wow. So you're going to hit, actually, you might hit 34,000 tonight. We might be able to do it for you.
It's very possible.
Wow. That's awesome. We could be the people responsible for that. And it seems like things are moving much faster for you since that documentary came out. Has it helped your career?
Lately it has, I think, because now that it's become free to watch on Prime and on Tubi TV too. I hear all the time people comment, come to my channel and say, I just watched the documentary on Tubi TV and you really inspire me and thank you for doing what you do. So I know that that's definitely having an impact.
And how great to hear from your fans. I noted also from the documentary that you try to respond to everybody who comments. Are you still able to do that?
I still try, but it's not possible. It's just not possible anymore. It's too much. And I've taken on a lot of other responsibility as far as the internet now. I'm trying to work with all different social media, and I've got on Twitch now, and I'm live streaming on there. So there's just not enough time to hit everything. You do your best. That's all you can do.
Right, and what comes through in the documentary too is the fact that you really do your best, and you appreciate the people commenting, so you do at least make an effort to get back to everybody. Now, your name, I have to ask you about your name now. Who christened you Weird Paul, or was this something you came up with yourself?
Well, I was the biggest Weird Al Yankovic fan when I was in high school. Everybody, knew that, and so I started getting called Weird Paul. I mean, I may have started saying it myself, but it caught on pretty quick. Everybody started calling me that, and it's not, once you get stuck with something, it's hard to get it changed. I called myself Off the Wall Paul for a little while because I said, I want to get away from that. That's Weird Al's name. I'm not going to take it. But it was just too late. Everybody already called me Weird Paul, and I couldn't get away from it. You pick your name, you might be stuck with it. So you got to be careful.
Yeah, and it's kind of cool too that it was something that came up. I mean, one of the things I noticed in the documentary too, you were very young with your VHS camera, I think in school or somebody, and I heard somebody in the background say, "Oh, it's Weird Paul," or "There's Weird Paul." So it's a moniker you've really had for a very long time.
Oh, absolutely.
And of course it works. And speaking of that, there's a shot too, a photo that we just saw a moment ago of you with the camera in the mirror. And I think it was a discovery that you made where you're filming in the mirror and you suddenly realize, oh, I have to work out how to get this camera out of the mirror as I'm filming myself in the mirror.
Right.
So was that part of your journey towards learning how to do videos, was making mistakes like that? Because it seems like a genuine moment that you're doing that in the mirror and then you realize, oh no, it's in the mirror, as if it's something that you thought may not have been a problem when you first started pointing it in the mirror.
Yeah, it's been a long learning process, a 35-year learning process, and still learning every day.
Yeah, wow. And your inspiration, I have to ask you where your inspiration comes from. I mean, the peanut butter recall, like obviously you love peanut butter. I assume that's true to you.
I do.
And there's another video that I quite enjoyed. I think it's with your band, because you have a band that I assume you have to stay away from at this point. But you guys are singing about a water heater in a basement.
That's right.
So how did that come about?
Well, that was funny. I think a couple guys in the band went out to get some beer. It was just me and the bass player hanging out in the basement, getting ready to practice. And he started playing something on the bass, and I started just singing into the microphone. I was looking around the basement first thing I saw was the hot water heater. So I
Yeah.
started singing about that. And then the other guys came back with the beer and we said, hey, listen to this song we just wrote.
Oh my God. And the thing about it too, what's fantastic is you say state select water heater, so you got the brand in there and everything.
Yeah. See, I mean, I just am looking for, I'm trying to sell some jingles here, basically.
Yeah, and
I'm
it's
writing.
actually State Select should actually use that. It's really funny. Now, your live shows, you sometimes bring props to your live shows that go with your songs.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I assume you don't bring the water heater.
That might hurt my back, but I found out, a lot of times I end up playing solo shows because the band's not always available, or you have to travel a long distance. Maybe you have to do them by yourself. And I found out that in order to keep the audience's attention, if you're just one person, you have a whole band, it's easier to keep people's attention. It's a lot to look at.
Yeah.
But when you're one person, you got to do a little more. So I always find ways to bring more into the show, bring some props and things.
Yeah, and it's always fun if you're singing about a cereal box, you got a cereal box right there.
That's right.
Oh, and this is the other one. I assume this is not a prop that you bring, or maybe you do.
I have an occasion, yes.
Really?
That
Wow.
skeleton, yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. So I love this one because you start singing, and people have to look up this video because you start singing about a bone disease, and then you open the thing and there's a skeleton, and I never could have thought of that.
Clearly it has a bone disease. And look,
It's
it does
very
not look
funny.
healthy. Yeah.
Well, it's obviously not a flesh disease. That's maybe the sequel or the
Exactly.
prequel, I should say.
Right.
Now, another issue that I know you faced, and I think a lot of artists who are blogging and vlogging face this also, is people internationally who are fans of yours downloading videos and then putting them on different sites that are not yours. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, I haven't seen that happen a lot. The biggest time that happened was that McDonald's breakfast video that I made when I was a kid. Somebody took that off of YouTube, and this was in Asia. I'm not sure what country it was, but they subtitled it all in Asian and uploaded it, and it got like 250,000 views.
Wow.
Or somewhere around there. And I was jealous because I never got anywhere near that many views on that video. And and it was just amazing to see all these people commenting on it. I couldn't read any of it, of course. It wasn't in English, but people all over the world were enjoying it. I didn't complain. I liked the fact that it was getting exposed to more people. And that's generally how I feel about that kind of thing. It's usually not bad if more people are getting exposed to it. If somebody's just uploading the exact same thing with no changes, and it's the same thing that you have up as well, and they don't have any following or anything, there's really no point, It's only if there's some kind of audience to see it.
But I guess the issue is now, you have 100,000 plus views on some of your videos, and
A few,
yeah, which is fantastic, and you can monetize because YouTube will pay you, as we were saying earlier. If you've got over 1,000 subscribers, you can and you've multiplied that by 34 hopefully at this point, right? If not, maybe in 10 minutes. So I guess the problem there is you can't monetize. It's your work, but you're not getting credit for it financially if somebody's uploading it on their site. But I guess you as an artist, you just want to get your work out there, right?
It's true. The more exposure you get, the more you get it in front of more people's eyes, the better.
Yes.
Because that's how you become. That's how you're able to get that audience to come to you. They see that, and then they want to see more. So then they come straight to the what do you call it? Straight to the originator.
Straight to the source.
Straight to the source. Thank you.
Yeah. So anyone out there who wants to steal Weird Paul's videos and put them on their following, please send them to Weird Paul's YouTube. Now the song also I want to ask you about, and this kind of struck a chord with me too, because I think many of us have experienced this, and I would imagine it comes from your life. The song Delusions of Grandeur. So one of the lines in there, I don't know why I said those things, and here you are talking to this friend of yours. I don't know, is some kind of stuffed animal there.
It's Donkey Kong. Yeah.
It's a Donkey Kong?
It is. That's an 80s Donkey Kong doll, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So.
Yeah, I didn't grow up in this country, so there's a possibility that I didn't come across it for that reason. But
yeah,
it's really interesting because it has footage of you as a kid,
right?
And it talks, and if I'm getting it right, I think it refers to when you arrived at a certain point, you thought you were somebody, and you're looking back saying, I really wasn't that person. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, I wrote that song after that McDonald's breakfast video was on YouTube, and it got picked up by a bunch of news places, and it was all over the internet. There were articles about it, and I suddenly had 20,000 views on it. It was the first thing I ever got seen a lot, and I thought, wow, this is it. I'm huge. I'm huge. Everyone knows who I am now. This is great. And after a week or so, I realized that's not the case. Actually, nobody's watching it now. It was just, you just have that little window where everybody sees everything, and then it just slowly drops. And so I learned a big lesson, and that's what that song's about.
It's a good lesson, and you know, fame is fleeting, and it's good to have delusions of grandeur, because many of us have delusions of adequacy, which is which is even worse. Now, the other one is, I got drunk at Chuck E. Cheese. Is this from a real experience?
I personally have not gotten drunk at Chuck E. Cheese, but I couldn't believe that you could buy wine and beer there. I mean, when I was a kid, they didn't sell that at Chuck E. Cheese. And so when I got older, they changed that. And I went into a Chuck E. Cheese for the first time in many, many years, and they were selling beer and wine. And I said, this is crazy. I said, people are going to get drunk. They're going to start fighting, you know. I said, so I decided I'd write a song about that whole idea. And then, amazingly, that's exactly what happened. There were lots of videos on the internet of adults getting drunk and starting fights at Chuck E. Cheese.
Probably inspired by your song. People are probably there going like, hey, we're at Chuck E. Cheese. We should get drunk and get into a fight. That's what happened in Paul's song. Interestingly, going back to when you first started now, 1984, you're 13 years of age. Your poor, unfortunate dad brings home a video camera that he thinks is going to be for himself. And, you know, then you enlist your family in creating all of this content long before content creation was even a thing.
Right.
So where in your mind did you think this was going when there was nowhere to really put it?
Well, I had seen shows on television where there were home videos. I mean, these were things that people filmed with their cameras. And this was long before America's Funniest Home Videos and that kind of stuff. This is back in '84 here, probably. There were a few opportunities like that on television that I saw. And I said, wow, if they could do that, I could do it too if I had a camera. Although I didn't have any plan on how I was going to send the tape to whoever or whatever. But I just felt like I am going to create content that could be shown on television. And I did. And, you know, aside from taking it to school and showing it in a class or two, or having some friends borrow it or whatnot, you know, that was it. That was the extent of it. No one else saw it until YouTube came along, and then I had a place to put it.
Well, it's really a lesson in just doing who you are, being yourself, following your dreams and your goals, and then hopefully it finds its place, which it has. I mean, YouTube is built for you. I mean, it seems like for someone like you, YouTube just seems to be tailor-made. And of course, there you are with the VHS camera.
There it is. That was the first one right there.
Well, that was the first camera.
That was the one my dad bought that day, yeah.
Wow, and so you still have it? Because that photo doesn't look too old.
I still have it, and it is, the tube in it is pretty old, and it's a little blurry when you try to record with it, but it still works.
Well, in honor of you, Weird Paul, in the beginning, I had my camera all blurry. Did you see that? At a very VHS look. I thought, oh, this is especially for Weird Paul. Not really, but you know, the universe conspired maybe to make it so. And even though the tube is damaged in that and probably hasn't got great resolution, is that a camera you still use on occasion?
Only, you know, for a special occasion. You know, I want to say, let's take a look at this. You know, today is the anniversary of when I got this. And
oh, wow.
Here's what it still looks like. You know?
And you have other VHS cameras that you use then?
Oh, yeah. I use them to live stream. I started live streaming on Twitch a couple months ago, and I do every live stream with a video camera, an old video cameras.
Wow. Is it hard to come across all that analog equipment these days?
It's harder to find stuff that's not broken, you know, or something's wrong with it. You could still go on the internet and get it. It's getting more expensive, I think, as time goes on. But.
Well, what I should say to anybody watching is if you have an old VCR sitting around, you know, in your basement or your garage, send it to Weird Paul, because you're the guy who will actually use it, right?
That's right.
Oh, wow. That's great. And so your mom then, so your dad, I think he was reluctant to act in your videos, but your mom was kind of all about it, right? She was like, oh yeah, whatever you want me to do.
Yeah, well, she was always a little more approachable. My dad worked really hard for a living. You know, he'd come home and he'd be just absolutely exhausted. And the last thing he wanted me to do was just, when he came through the door, was like, Dad, Guess what you're gonna do? You didn't want that. But my
And he
mom
just-
was home, she was home taking care of the kids. So it was a lot easier to say, okay, Mom, stand here and hold this and, do the whole thing.
Oh, that's wonderful. When anybody who sees the documentary will really appreciate, how supportive your parents were and are even to this day. Now, also, there's something in the documentary that caught my eye, and I just thought this was just a beautiful piece. You were getting phone calls from someone, I believe was her name Noreen, was calling and leaving messages on your answering machine.
That's right, Noreen. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
did she ever stop calling, or do you still get those messages?
Unfortunately, she stopped calling because I really enjoyed those messages. They might not have been meant for me, but I really enjoyed listening to those.
Well, what was delightful, I mean, for our viewers today, just in case they haven't seen the documentary yet, is when the calls would come in, you'd listen in the answer machine and you'd hear these lovely calls about Nolene, like enjoying chocolate cake or something. Right. She goes, the best chocolate cake I ever had. And you would listen and you'd be like, these are really nice messages, and it just shows your soul, you just want to reach out and be reached out to by the people. Now, interestingly, speaking of that documentary, and we've talked about the documentary almost as much as we've talked about your hair, but both very and equally important. One of the things that you say in the very beginning of the documentary, which I think sets up the whole premise, I do it because it's my destiny. Have you, from the very beginning, felt that your destiny was to be a content creator?
I mean, I knew something like that. I still have this magazine article that I ripped out when I was a kid, and it was like a questionnaire for kids to fill out. And at the bottom it said, what's the most important thing to you? And it said family, money, all this stuff.
Yeah.
And one of the things was being famous, and that was the one I checked off. And I was probably only 8 years old when I did that. So I knew that was my destiny.
Yeah, destiny. And one of the things that is the mark of a real artist is you don't always do it for the money. Like I read a post of yours a couple of months back. I think it was maybe right before COVID. So I guess, wow, it's gone back at least 4 months now.
Yeah.
Where you got paid for a gig in cookies. Am I right in remembering that?
I do remember that. Yeah, there was no money that night, but they had cookies. So that was my payment after I performed.
So at the end of your gig, they were like, oh, thank you, man. Here's some cookies.
Yeah, I'll take what I can get.
Oh, that's fantastic. Wow, that's really good. One of the other things, and I mean, we've talked so much now, Paul, or if I can call you Weird Paul, because I just love that moniker. We've talked so much, and unfortunately, we could talk all night, but we have other guests, and it's late where you are. And actually, our musical guests who are coming up next, they're in New York City, so it's late where they are, and they have 2 young children that they're probably keeping up.
They gotta get to bed.
So we don't want to torture them all. Any longer. But speaking of torturing, interestingly, in the documentary, they brought in your childhood bully. So the guy that used to bully you when you were a kid, and he seems like a nice guy now. You seem like you could be friends.
Yeah, we get along well now. He comes to some of my shows. He likes my music, and he actually bought me a ticket to our high school reunion, our 30th high school reunion. So
wow,
there you go. That's the way life is,
Well, that is so cool. It's a happy ending, and of course, it's not an ending yet because I'm sure there's lots more VHS to be made and more to be uploaded on your YouTube channel, etc., and all the other platforms that you're exploring now. Well, Weird Paul, it's just been so great chatting to you, and
it has been, Owen. Thank you.
Yeah, of course, and thank you so much for spending the time with us this evening. And we're going to finish the segment now, just to warn you. Maybe you don't know what's coming, but we're going to take a look at one of your another one of your many popular and creative videos. And before we show it, just one last time, Paul, thank you so much for spending this time with us. If when COVID is all over, if you come out here and do some shows, let us know and we'll promote it, and we'll turn up, and we'll see if we can muster up something more than cookies. But if it's only cookies, we absolutely know you'll work for that, so we'll be good. Thank you, Paul. We'll see you again soon. And this is a clip from one of Paul's very creative and interesting music videos, one we just talked about during the interview. This is Hot Water Heater by Weird Paul Petrosky. Thank you so much, Weird Paul Petrosky. A video and a song, the most famous water heater in America, quite possibly, right there. Just what fun chatting to him. And be sure to check out his channel, youtube.com/weirdpaul, to keep up with all his new exciting videos, songs, and hopefully upcoming shows when live music returns to our world. Now, I should remind everybody just about tips that help support all of our musical artists in the show. We share with the musical artists and also with everybody who's involved in putting on this show. As I always say every week, we're so happy to have you with us. That is first and foremost. So glad you tuned in. And if you feel like put something in the tip jar, then go ahead. We absolutely support that. And if you can't, we absolutely support that too. So thank you so much. And thank you again to Weird Paul. Wow, what a joy. And up on our screen here is some of our past tippers. Pat Nason, John Harkaway, Laura Ramirez, Ray Sabo, Michael McNevin, Kira Babier. It's a little out of focus on my screen, so God, that's why I said to Weird Paul, I really appreciated that his directors were Eric and Joe, because it's not it's less for me to mispronounce. Now, let's move on. We had a great, as I said, just such a great person of interest guest in Weird Paul. And now to our featured musical artist, the Scooches, a band led by Nick Russo and Bettina Hershey, who formed the Scooches soon after they met over a decade ago. They have in recent years built up a solid following in the eastern US, having engaged in a number of live tours during pre-COVID times, of course. They have also been popular on radio stations and have appeared on multiple TV shows. Their album, titled Get Us Out of Fearland, a title which could easily double as a mantra for our current times, reached number 2 on Folk International Radio DJ chart. As impressive as their achievements are together, they are equally impressive individually. Nick Russo has performed as a sideman for many artists, including John Batiste, Deep Singh, and Paul McCartney. Yes, that Paul McCartney. And if that's not enough, he was recently invited to be music director and guitarist for rap star Jon Bellion. Not to be outshone by her erudite husband, Bettina Hershey boasts an impressive resume of roles in musical theatre shows, including Meg in a national tour of Phantom of the Opera, and has performed in international tours in musicals such as West Side Story and The Pirates of Penzance. She has created multiple original shows herself, having penned, I believe to date, a total of 7 musicals, which are regularly performed in over 30 countries around the globe. She and Nick are also parents of 9-year-old twins, which makes me wonder where they find the time to do what they do so very, very well. Before we meet them, we'd like to play a video clip of one of their songs. This is the Scooches with I Wish the World Knew Why. Please welcome the soul and the center of the band, the Scooches, Bettina Hershey and Nick Russo. Hi guys, you're playing yourself in there.
How are you?
Well, I'm very good. All the better for seeing you. And as I said before, sorry for keeping you guys up so late.
Oh, no. Oh, it's so hard to stay up this late.
I know. I think Paul...
Before the pandemic, I was out playing gigs till 3, 4 in the morning, so this is early for me.
I'm going to turn my volume up on this end just so I can hear you a bit better. You guys might need to get a little closer to the mic,
Oh,
if
sorry
you don't
about
mind.
that. Our son
Yeah.
Lydian is actually watching us from his bed, and I think our daughter Sariana is sleeping.
Oh, that's so cool.
But this is early for me. Before the pandemic, I was up till 3, 4 in the morning every night.
Oh, wow. So actually, this is nothing for you. And so your kids, so you have a boy and a girl, and they're each 9. And are they musically inclined also?
Oh yeah, Lydia and our son would love to be in this concert right now, except it's past his bedtime. No, he actually does join us.
He
now
told me that the gig
every
didn't
time.
pay enough for him to do it.
Well, if Weird Paul works for cookies, he could work for cookies, surely.
He hasn't learned that yet about the music business.
Oh, yeah. He's got the delusions of grandeur that,
right.
that Paul and I were talking about. Yeah, well, that's what happens. Then you grow up, you become an artist, and reality sets, my friends. So now, as I said, you guys are the center of the band, but you also play with up to, is it 8 musicians?
We're so inclusive. If you were in the audience, I would invite you, and I would invite Paul up. So yeah, we've had our CD release. I guess maybe in the house band was 7 or 8, but then we invited Rob Morrow, the actor that opened for us, and a couple other musicians in the audience.
But
Wow.
we have a lot of musicians that we love to play with, and so when we have the chance, we do have a very large group up there, a rotating cast of characters, and
Wow, that's
such-
great. And what a great way to get a free band just on the spot. You know,
Oh,
hey.
no, we pay them.
Oh, you do? Not just cookies?
Not just cookies. A bass player friend of mine did tell me once the lowest I'll work for is for free.
Oh, that's good. Well, that's good to know. Well, he can negotiate down from there, right? So now you released your album, I think your first album, under Banjo Nicaro and Western Scooches.
Banjo Nickaroo and Western Scooches. That's Banjo Nickaroo right there. And I'm one of the Scooches. And when we started playing more as a duo, we thought maybe we couldn't be Banjo Nickaroo and the Western Scooches, because I can't be all of the Western Scooches all myself.
Oh, wow. Okay, so that's the name change. Now, I said Nikaru because you guys have been to Japan, and I thought, oh, maybe there's a little bit of a little bit of Japanese at the end of that, but it's Nika.
But
Say it
you know,
again,
it
Nikaru?
did come a little bit from there. Like we were talking about something like that.
Yeah, I actually, Owen, I like how you say it. I think we should go in the Japanese direction for that. I love the way that sounds.
Yeah, well, I know they would say that they would ooh at the end of everything. So I thought, oh, it sounds very Japanese, and I read in your bio that you guys have both traveled to Japan at different times, right?
Yeah, that's right.
I love Japan.
And your work took you there. You guys went there to perform.
Yeah, I had a jazz gig with a quartet from here for about 3 weeks. I went to I was playing in Sasebo, so we played mainly in Sasebo, and then we had one day off a week, and I traveled. So for me, it was incredible. I was actually ready to live there after that gig was over. And then,
Wow.
Tina, you went there with
I
a few
toured
different
through
times.
there with West Side Story, playing Anybody's, the tough tomboy. I got to dance with the boys, and then I went out swing dancing, as I always loved to do when I was on tour, and met the swing dancers, and they flew me back a few times to teach swing dancing.
Oh, wow, that's amazing because your dance career has taken you also to many places, including in a movie with Julia Roberts. Do you want to tell us that story?
Oh, that was just so incredibly fun. I was in all the dance scenes and ballroom dancing and swing dancing, and we had one day where we made it into golden time, which is like you make it past the 16 hours and everybody starts to get delirious, and we're all sitting around waiting for the lights to change. And Julia Roberts was like, who wants to sing something for the birthday? Like, so it was somebody's birthday, and we were all singing in all these different languages, having to like sing along together. It was a lot of fun.
Wow, that's great. And you guys both, I suppose you're rooted in Americana music. I mean, one of the reviews that I and this is actually, you might get a kick out of this because I read it, and it said Americana music at its purest and most impressive, no depression. And I thought that was part of the quote, no depression. And I was like, oh yeah, they're so uplifting. But no depression was actually the publication that wrote that about you. Because I was like, oh yeah, anytime I listen to them, I'm uplifted. Yeah, they're right in saying no depression. And of course, unfailingly high-spirited. Do you feel that when you bring the whole band in, because you guys are, I've seen you live as a duo, but I've also seen the videos of you with a whole band, and either way, it's fantastic. But which do you enjoy?
Oh, I know for sure that Nick much prefers with the whole band because of all the energy you get with everybody.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's just because he's sick of spending time with you, Bettina. Did you ever question him on that? He's like, man, I need my other people. Bettina, I'm getting a message from headquarters. Just get a little closer to the mic if you don't mind.
Okay, how's this? Do I sound fabulous now?
Yeah, you do. You sounded fabulous before, but even more fabulous now, and I didn't even think it was possible. So, but I know that energy of just being in a band and your videos. I mean, my God, there was a video that I watched, and I think it was a promo that they did for APAP in New York City, 2019. And I guess that maybe was a video that you guys posted or they posted, and I just saw great performances with different musicians that, when you talk about your rotating musicians, I wonder, as you say, sometimes you have friends that you find they come to your gigs and you just invite them up, and is that the core band? Is that like the core four of you?
That's one of the core bands, yeah. And on the right side, that's one of our main singers, Keith Anthony Flute. And then in that photo in the middle is a great drummer, Harvey Wirt.
Mm-hmm.
Him and I played in Malika Zara's band for many years. And that's another photo with Keith on the right. And that's Luciana Padmore, another great drummer. The four of us played APAP recently. And on the right is a great sitar player. He runs the Brooklyn Raga Massive. That's Neil on sitar. And there's Harvey again next to Neil.
Wow, because, seeing the sitar player brings me to something I'm curious about too, because you guys infuse world music into your Americana. I mean, you're, I suppose, touted mostly as an Americana band, but you have influence from Latin America, from India, from Africa. Has this come about from just liking those genres, listening to a cross-section of music? Or I think, Nick, you're mostly influenced by those.
Yeah, I just love so much music. It's like food. I love different, so many different types of foods and sounds. So I did study with Samir Chatterjee. I studied bowl, the Indian rhythmic system. But even before that, as a kid, I grew up in a musical household. So my dad was playing everything from Richard Pryor comedy to Chuck Berry to Johnny Winter, Jimi Hendrix, Roy Buchanan, a lot of Elmore James and John Lee. Muddy Waters, Ray Charles. But on my own, I was getting into, I guess just because it was different, I was getting into Ravi Shankar, and Ali Akbar Khan is one of my favorite. Of course, Shakti, and I love African music and Gullah Geechee music. I learned a lot playing with Dr. David Pleasant. He's actually one of our founding drummers, and of course, we get him on the gig whenever he can, and we learn so much rhythm. Actually, Get Us Out of Fearland was inspired. It's original, and although Bettina wrote the song, she was very inspired by David's rhythms, that him coming from the Sapelo Islands.
Well, and you can hear that too. It's so uplifting with those rhythms, and hopefully we'll get to play a little bit of that in video form for our audience with a full band a little later on. But before that, one of the other quotes that I read, I think it was by a DJ who said about your band. Now I love this quote. They said, "This band needs to be seen to be believed." Now,
and it's best if I'm not sitting down. Like I end up moving around like a leaf shaking in the wind.
well, of course, no pressure. When somebody gives you one of those, and that's just one of many stellar reviews that have been given. But it's like, this band needs to be seen to believe. So why don't we just get our audience believing somewhat? And when you're ready, would you be open to giving us maybe 3 songs, and then we'll come back and chat a little bit more?
Sure, yeah.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, the Scooches.
In the darkness around, it's always a fight to break through the cement and reach for the sunlight. growing tall. I won't let you deport her. Supple, strong, and wild, main roots as deep as ages. Written on her face the pain and history of the sages. Dandelion, growing tall, always trying to prove she ain't too small. Dandelion, growing tall, always trying to break down that wall. Just a babe, a growing gal, working hard for supper. She's my brave and scrappy pal, I'm always gonna love her. Dandelion, growing tall, always trying to prove she ain't too small. Dandelion, growing tall, always climbing, but headed for that wall. Break down that wall, dandelion, break down that wall. Dandelion, strong and small, break down that wall. Grow them roots really, really deep, grow them roots to me. Though it's hard to work and weave, I know you will break free. Break down that wall, break down that wall. Dandelion, strong and small, break down that wall. Grow them roots really deep, grow them roots to me. Though it's hard to work and weave, I know you will break free. Break down that wall, break down that wall. Dandelion, strong and small, break down that wall. Break down that wall, break down that wall. Dandelion, strong and small, break down that wall. Oh, there's a lot of walls to break through. And this next song is called I Grow My Roots Deep and True, and I wrote it last summer when we were on tour and in New Hampshire, hanging out with the trees and the wind was blowing, but also just thinking about all the people that really should be allowed to grow their roots right where they are. All the people that need our help. Hurricane, icy cold, can't stop me from grabbing hold. I grow my roots deep and true. When the eye is over me, I'm just like a redwood tree. I grow my roots deep and true. I grow my roots deep and true. I grow my roots deep and true. Let the calm finally come. We're struggling, but not more than some. Reach for me, I'll reach for you. Let's grow our roots deep and true. Let's grow our roots deep and true. Let's grow our roots deep and true. Winds change in the air, ripping through my dark despair. Let's grow our roots deep and true. Though I bend to the ground, still I plan to stick around. I grow my roots deep and true. I grow my roots deep and true. Let's grow our roots deep and true. Let the calm finally come. We're struggling, but not more than some. Reach for me, I'll reach for you. Let's grow our roots deep and true. Let's grow our roots deep and true. Let's grow our roots deep and true. They shout, go on home. Why must we forever roam? Let's grow our roots deep and true. Come on now, take my hand. You and I can barely stand. Let's grow our roots deep and true. 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 And on that same tour this past summer, we wrote this song called Leavin'. Right now, nobody's really leaving. Everybody's stuck right where they are. But it's almost like a different kind of leaving when you can't get to the people that you love that are far away. Like I know I gotta do. Believe me, you gotta believe me. I love you so. Even though I gotta go, the road keeps calling. I keep falling for the dream ahead. It calls me nightly, holds on tightly, though I'd rather be with you instead. But I'm leaving, yeah, I'm leaving. Stop bugging, let's get to hugging and say goodbye. Even as we cry, just hold me. Go on and scold me, but I tell you true. Well, I'm coming back for you. The road keeps calling, I keep falling for the dream ahead. ahead. It calls me nightly, holds on tightly, though I'd rather be with you instead. But I'm leaving, yeah, I'm leaving. Remember, by mid-September I'll be back here. So there's nothing more to fear. I'll be returning when dreams stop burning inside my mind, and I'm ready to unwind. The road keeps calling, I keep falling for the dream ahead. It calls me nightly, holds on tightly, though I'd rather be with you instead. But I'm leaving, yeah, I'm leaving. Still believing, though I'm grieving. By the next full moon, though I'm leaving now, I'll be back soon. Though I'm leaving now, take this as a vow, I'll be back soon. Though I'm leaving now, I'll be back soon.
Well, you're not leaving yet. We're going to keep you a little longer. My God. Nick and Bettina, that was
Oh,
just
thanks, Owen.
beautiful. Yeah, in the midst of that song, I forgot I was part of this show. I was just chilling and enjoying, and then suddenly I was like, oh no, they're going to cut to me at some point. That was just so beautiful. And multi-instrumental there, Nick, changing instruments, sometimes mid-song. That's very impressive. That's very impressive. Well, that was absolutely beautiful. You guys are, as one review of the London Times said, unfailingly high-spirited. You see, you guys have so many good quotes about you. I just keep throwing them in. And Bettina, I'm told by our fearless leaders at Divine Rebel Music that we have uncovered some photos of your dancing and your teaching of dance since we were talking about those movies earlier, and I'm excited to see them and to hear a little bit about the photo when it comes up.
So this was
No, that's the photo of me, isn't it?
No, this was in Razzle Dazzle in Akron, Ohio, which is actually the show I was performing in when I got called to audition for Christine in Phantom of the Opera. That's the lead character, and I had to somehow arrange a flight home in between shows, audition, and
Wow.
then I ended up getting the part of Meg, which is the little ballerina girl that dances in toe shoes. And they didn't even have me dance in toe shoes before they gave me the part. Because I was in the middle of doing this show and I was dancing in point.
Wow. Oh, that is so interesting. And then you teach children dance. Well, obviously, I would assume that that's all on hold right now.
So yeah, I run a musical theater program for kids called Garden Players, and I do teach kids. We've been doing things online and making that work, but it's a completely different thing.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. One of our guests from a couple of weeks ago, Gwendolyn Oliver, she also was teaching dance, and she said she was doing it via Zoom, and I can't even imagine how that works, you know.
I was doing a lot of acting improv with them, which is super fun. And you can do breakout rooms, send the kids to practice in little breakout rooms on Zoom, and then come back and share it. So that
Wow.
was a lot of fun. And then they were recording the songs because I wrote the musical that we were supposed to put on. And instead, I had them create their own character monologues based on their characters, and then send me themselves singing the songs. And I did all of this editing of all the songs, putting together.
Wow, what a great exercise. And Nick, I believe you were, oh, there's the photo of all those kids with you.
There's
Wow,
me and the
that is
kids.
fantastic.
Yeah, and Nick's up there with Luciana. This was a benefit concert we did. And our band, Hot Jazz Jumpers, which is interchangeable with the Scooches, but focuses more on 1920s music, was up there playing.
Miles Griffith, our other singer, is in there too.
He's up there,
Oh,
and
wow.
we were teaching the kids a bunch of 1920s songs, and they were singing with us.
Right, because you're not versatile enough with everything else you do. You have to write 1920s influenced music. So, and now this is Nick. You're multi-instrumental and composer, writer. You play all those instruments that we see: the banjo, the guitar, the snare drum with your foot that I heard in the sound check. So I was like, who's playing that snare drum? I see,
there's also
and
this
there you are
box,
playing it
right?
with your foot. And then that's a piano that we see there also.
Yeah, we also didn't get to the harmonium.
The harmonium.
That's
well,
hidden behind here.
Well, my feeling is that there's going to be a campaign to get you guys back at some time. So
great.
we will save that also. And there's the harmonium. Wow.
I'm not selling. These are not for sale, by the way.
Although you did buy it in Queens, in New York City.
Yeah, Mindra is a great harmonium maker here in Queens. It's a beautiful instrument.
So this is your local harmonium because you're in Queens right now. You're in a basement in Queens. It
That's
kind of
right.
sounds like a movie.
Right.
Yeah, so we definitely came down to the basement so we didn't disturb the neighbors.
Oh, that's great. A great way to get away from your kids too, I would imagine.
Oh no, they followed
We
us down.
tried.
Yeah, that never works, right? Because they're aspiring musicians. Oh, that's great. Well, that's wonderful, and it's great that you guys have this great band and you've got a relationship. And I know Nick was a hit from the beginning with your family, Bettina.
Yeah, my dad said, if you don't marry him, I will.
So you had to get in there before your dad did. Well, it's a match made in heaven, and look at that. Is that your wedding?
No, but I do love that picture.
That's Aiden Grant, who's a wonderful photographer and inspired me to get these lights for the first time. So now we have a little bit more ambiance.
Wow.
Thanks
But
to Dolly, by the
I
way.
didn't send you any wedding. Yeah, you don't have any wedding pictures of ours probably, but we did play in the wedding, and we dressed up with like cowboy hats at the beginning, ran down, played this funny song that we'd written called "I'm Getting Married," then raced back out, and then came down gracefully, and then. Right before, they say you may kiss the bride, I sang the song that I'd written for him. He played the guitar, I sang it. It was called I Do. And then when they said you may kiss the bride, we had to kiss around the guitars.
Oh. So basically, it's for better or for all these instruments, no matter what happens, right?
Right.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, you guys really are amazing, and we look forward to hearing more of your stuff as time goes on. We're kind of running late as we often do when we have acts on that we absolutely love. We're going to actually we're going to leave you guys, and we're going to leave our audience with a little bit of some of your wonderful track, the title track of your album, Get Us Out of Fearland, which, as I said before, could be a mantra for our current times.
Right.
How long ago did you record that song?
I think that was, the album came out, was it 2019? I feel like, or maybe 2018. So now it's been almost 2 years. And Dr. David Pleasant plays drums on that, and that's Miles Griffith on vocals, and that's live, like
And
just
yeah,
raw
that was
in the
live
studio.
in another basement studio.
Yeah, another basement.
Lots of raw energy,
Yeah.
so much fun.
Lenny Monticello's the engineer, another basement studio in Queens.
Wow, see, that's great. You've really cool basements out there. We don't get it out here in California. You know, we're like what's called a California basement, and it's about like 4 foot square with nothing in there, you know. So you guys are doing great. Well, I know our audience is going to love this, and I want to thank you so much, guys, for spending this time with us, especially this late at night, all the way out there in New York City.
Oh, thanks.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
We
thanks
really
so much for
enjoyed the
having us.
whole show. It was so much
Yeah.
fun.
Good, thank you. Well, we loved having you, and we hope that we'll see you again, and we hope we'll see you out this way again soon live, you know, when things kind of calm down and we can all start traveling and playing live music again.
And we have to go to Netflix, Owen, and check out your movie.
Oh yeah, you got to check
Yes.
that out. Have you watched that yet?
Not yet. We're really looking forward to our date night.
Yeah, that'll be our date night. We're going to check it out.
Oh,
And
okay.
Thanks
Well,
to Dolly, too, behind the scenes. They're great. Her and JJ are great.
well, we very much appreciate you guys, and thank you so much for spending this time with us. We will see you again soon.
Thanks. Thanks, Owen.
We're now going to play this new mix from the 2018 title track of the Scooches album, Get Us Out of Fearland. And I know you're absolutely going to love this. I saw this video earlier and I fell in love with it. It is just so uplifting. No depression, as I said earlier. This is the always fabulous The Scooches.
Get us out of fearland, lead us through the night. Get us out of fear and take us to the light. Get us out of fearland, lead us through the night. Get us out of fearland, take us to the light. If we don't talk about how we feel, if we don't believe the future's real, hey, we're here and been around too long. If we're silent, all we are is wrong. Get us out of fearland, lead us through the night. Get us out of fear and take us to the light. Oh, take us to the light. Oh yeah, I may prefer the quiet way, but now it's time to disobey. Though we'd rather sleep or hide, it's time to stand up at your side. Get us out of fear, let's lead us through the night. Get us out of fear and take us to the light. Oh, take us to the light. I said, what did it was to the way? I said, it was to the way. We don't stand up now. We are false to say we don't know how. We don't stand up hand in hand. We're selling ourselves to the hatred land. Get us out of here, lead us to the light. Get us out of here and take us to the light. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Take us to the light. Shake us out of fear, lead us through the night. Get us out of fear and take us to the light. 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 Take us to the light.
And that was The Scooches. playing live with their wonderful band on that video. And thank you so much, Bettina and Nick, for chatting with us and for entertaining us tonight with your music. And if you want to hear more of the Scooches, which I'm sure you do, be sure to go to thescooches.com, where you can keep track of all their upcoming shows, find out more about them and their music. You can follow them on social media, get live updates, and what a great, I want to say duo, but also expanded band, and the musicians they have around. They said, as they said, always great and rotating musicians that they have at their shows. And hopefully, as I always say, we'll be going back to live shows more, and maybe they'll come out here to California and we'll get to see them live. As we've said before, all tips help support our musical artists and the hardworking team involved in putting on this show each week. So feel free to contribute if you feel the urge. But as always, we're most grateful that you took the time to be here with us this evening. And want to tell you a little bit about upcoming shows. Thursday, July 30th. That's this Thursday coming up at 7 p.m. The Roadhouse Series presents Songs of Freedom and Unity. And that's going to be a great show with many, many artists, each doing one song about songs of freedom and unity. So those are the themes, and you'll see some familiar faces on that night. So tune in at 7 p.m. this coming Thursday, July 30th, and then Sunday, August 2nd at 10 a.m. 10 at 10 with Matt Bunson. He's going to be doing some pop hits from 1967 to 1973. So that's a Sunday morning show if you want to tune into that, August 2nd. Then Monday, August 3rd, we're back right here at 7 p.m. with Songs and Sit-Downs. It's going to feature Timmery. Timmery is an all-round artist, fashion designer, graphic, jewelry designer, and also a musical artist. And we also have Billy Kennedy. We'll be going all the way to a town called Crosshaven in County Cork, Ireland, to meet with Billy Kennedy, who's a sought-after musician and producer over there and a singer-songwriter. And he's going to be playing live for us. Now, you think our artists were up late tonight. Well, wait till next week, because Billy Kennedy, by the time he plays on our show, it'll probably be about 7:30 our time, and it'll be about 3:30 or close to 4 o'clock in the morning his time. So that's really going to be interesting. And it's going to be a great show. So do come back for that. And then the following Monday after that, Monday, August 10th at 7 p.m., Songs and Sit-Downs, we're back with Lee Ross, who's actually a mime artist, so hopefully he'll have something to say. He's actually not only a mime artist, he's a stand-up comedian, he's a filmmaker, he was one of the lead roles touring with Cirque du Soleil for a few years, and a very, very interesting and talented gentleman, so he's going to be our person of interest. And then our musical artists that night are the Rose Valley Thorns. Now, if you haven't heard the Rose Valley Thorns, you will be blown away by what a wonderful band this is. It's a trio from Ojai, California. And we want to thank everybody, of course, who's involved in this show, who made this show possible. Thank you, Dolly and JJ. Jessica, a big thank you, of course, to our special guest, Weird Paul Petrovsky, and our fabulous musical guest, the Scooches. And, of course, a big thank you to you, our audience, for tuning in. We really appreciate your joining us this evening. Now, we're going to leave you now with our video of the week. And it's by a band that we just mentioned called the Rose Valley Thorns from Ojai, California. If you haven't seen this band yet, as I said, you simply have to tune in to Songs and Sit-Downs 2 weeks from now, when they'll be our special musical guest on the show. That's 2 weeks from tonight, Monday, August 10th. What a great group of guys they are. So we'll be chatting to them about their life and their music. They're also stellar musicians who are not only brilliantly keeping the bluegrass tradition alive, but also moving it forward in a very positive way. We're going to play a video of them performing a song right now. The song is called Steel Strings in just a moment, but before we do, we'd like to thank you again so much for being with us tonight. We look forward to seeing you again next Monday for another episode of Songs and Sit-Downs. Till then, stay safe and be kind. This is Steel Strings with the Rose Valley Thorns.
Me to the core, capture my emotion, seeps into my pores and every mental notion. Fear and interest in unknown, a reach for comprehension. Fingers work through bone, the metronome's correction. Steel strings tie my body down. forgot what I've lost, but what I've found. When they sing, my heart is bound by these steel strings. Sharp, the words instruments say, melodic in their diction, harmony so pure I fall through fray and fiction. Form seemingly obscure torments is my obsession, music made so pure from every perfect session. Steel strings turn my body down, the ground. Steel strings tangle every thought. Steel strings, all else I forgot. I forgot what I've lost, but what I've found. When they sing, my heart is bound by these steel strings. Forgot what I've lost, but what I've found. When they sing, my heart is bound